Hey, hey you. Yeah, you, the one who tuned into the Pin Pals podcast. Are you looking to get custom pins made super easy? Are you new to the pin game and don't know where to start? Perhaps you don't even know the difference between soft enamel and hard enamel. Or maybe you're a polished pin maker, you've been in the game for a while, but your current manufacturer just isn't cutting it. Well, I got some good news for you. My friends over at Your Stuff Made can help make you custom pins. They are wizards at this kind of stuff. They work under strict ethical guidelines so you know your pins are being produced clean and safe for the environment. Their team actually cares about what they make. And best of all, they're not a middleman. They have direct access and control over tools, machinery, and resources needed to make enamel pins. So this means super low costs and fast shipping times. They are the real deal. And speaking of deals, you know where I'm going with this. I got one for you. If you order custom pins from Your Stuff Made, you can save 10% off your entire order. And with this inflation going crazy these days, 10% can be huge. Especially if you're new to the pin game, every dollar counts. So all you have to do is visit yourstuffmade.com, fill out a quote, and under the referral section, select the Pin Pals podcast. That'll tell them that I sent you, and that's how you get 10% off all your custom pin orders. Once again, the place to be is yourstuffmade.com. Let them know the Pin Pals podcast sent you. So, what are you waiting for? Start creating today. Welcome to Pin Pals, Manny. How's it going?
Good, man. Yeah, enjoying that pin life.
What does enjoying that pin life look like right now? Because that sounded kind of sarcastic.
Having to rush to FedEx to get a package that they couldn't figure out how to deliver. Um, Having the laundry list of stuff to do before the next thing. So the new order is in, and I have to remember to order stickers so I'm not waiting for stickers when I've got hot pins in my hand. Having to make a trip to the Printful website to try and make shirts to see if people are interested in shirts. That pin life, man, that merch making life, trying to try new things, trying not to get into the too much of the shiny object syndrome, but also trying to be able to we're tiny companies. We should be able to pivot a little bit to try new things to see what works and see if we can get, more people, more eyeballs. That's just the way I see it. I just want more eyeballs.
You and I are alike in that these are constant things that are just always going through my head. Thinking about the current rollout, the next rollout, the next 3 months, the next 6 months, trying to stay on top of things, keeping events in mind. Then these
Yeah.
holidays, and now, we're at the tail end of summer, but we're already freaking talking about like October, Halloween pins, Christmas pins in the Discord.
Oh, Halloween's gone already. Halloween's gone. Michael's has got it. Walgreens has got it. Everybody's got it. If you're not about to drop a Halloween pin by like September 1st, you're late. It's gone. I'm literally waiting for the good Halloween candy to be in stock because I like to drop a little piece of individually wrapped candy in my Halloween drops. But I'm done. I'm ready. I'm like, let's go. Let's go. I've got the stickers, I've got the pins. I'm like, let's go.
Oh, I'm sure that's what a lot of people strive for to be in that let's go. I've been doing this for 6 years and I still haven't successfully released anything for like Halloween, like a proper Halloween drop, despite having all these ideas. So good on you for being
Yeah,
ahead of the curve. But I got to ask you,
thank you.
what
Uh-huh.
is the good Halloween candy that you referenced?
Okay, so the good Halloween candy to me are mini candy bars, but you don't want to send chocolates through the mail. What I've found, what makes the most impact, Dollar General, my go-to, has like crazy spooky gummy candy. They have like gumballs that are wrapped in um, eyeball wrappers, so they look like eyeballs. And they have like Fang gummy candy, so you can get like literally like lips and fangs as gummy candy, and that's gonna make the most impact, and it's not gonna melt in the mail.
Yeah, that's fun. And it's cheap.
Yeah, it is. It's cheap, but it makes an impact.
Oh yeah.
I love getting candy in the mail from people. A buddy of mine, Enon from Dapper Notes, who makes these awesome like handmade notebooks, um, always includes a little piece of something in his thing. But it's all part of storytelling. It's all part of the whole thing.
Yeah, the
You know,
whole experience, making it a little bit sweeter,
a hundred
perhaps.
percent. The well, yeah, but the packaging and experience of opening up something is it's so important.
Yeah.
I've only been making my own merch in a real sense for about a year. Um, yeah, about a year, and I'm not quite there yet. I've had friends help me, like, you should do thank you cards. You should do a little sticker on the outside of the package. You should, for the even if you're doing just a regular bubble mailer, little sticker on the outside of the package. I do a little doodle on the back of my thank you cards, um, because drawing is something I can do and I can do quickly. So I take like 5 minutes and do a little doodle of what they're getting on the back of the thank you card. Or in some cases, if I know that person, I might do like their logo or their character if it's another artist or whatever. Just a little something quick. I don't want to think about it too much and just kind of put something down in Sharpie real quick. Yeah, I know,
Bro, so you're
I
talking
know.
all these things. I opened it, but I didn't look inside yet just to make it easier. But you just saying all those things, and I think in our Discord, you and episode 31, What the What Pins, um,
Yeah.
exchanged the worst selling pins. But in the
Yes.
Discord, Rob shared kind of like what he got, and I believe he did get like a little sketch of his robot logo. So.
Yeah.
Um, Anticipation is at an all-time high right now. Expectations are also up there. So we'll get into
Nice.
this in a minute for sure.
I
Um,
appreciate that.
Gotta love doing the unboxing. So you kind of talked about your intro and who you are, but why don't you kind of give a little bit more of a proper introduction into who you are and kind of a little bit about your background before getting into, making pins.
Okay. So I have been a professional designer and illustrator for about 20 years. I've spent most of that being, uh, in different, wearing different hats, if you will. T-shirt design, car wrap and vinyl wrap design stuff, regular sort of graphic design stuff, brochures and business cards, and lots of um, lots of logos, and a lot of that sort of run of the mill stuff. What I like is that I've had experience doing a little bit of everything. So so a lot of the stories on the podcast kind of come down to the pandemic and what happened during the pandemic. So to kind of distill all of that sort of 20 years worth of running around doing a bunch of stuff, the pandemic happens. um my day job is very focused on the cruise ship industry, so, and making products for them. So obviously with all the closed cruise ships, cruise ship companies and stuff, I'm sitting here biting my nails. In the whole thing, my wife loses her job,
Oh.
and she's awesome, and she wasn't that worried. She knew that she'd be able to find something, but I am a warrior to like the nth degree. So to calm myself down when we were all shut down and I couldn't do anything, a friend of mine on Instagram clued me into these things called quarantine collabs, and they were other artists that I liked doing these sort of little images on Instagram that was sort of like a half a face. and you would do your version of the half a face, or if you had a character, you would do your character to kind of complete an image or whatever.
That's cool.
And it calmed my nerves down, but it also felt like a a way of networking with other artists, because I was, you know, sending something to an artist I liked, and that was really cool. And it was very freeing and sort of opened me up, because I'd always drawn, and I'd always done illustration stuff, and I'd done a lot of character stuff, and character design is my favorite thing. So this was an opportunity to sort of chill out and focus on that stuff.
I love it.
And then 2021 happens, and another friend was like, I was like, okay, so that was fun. I made contact with some like toy companies and some other stuff, and that it was fun. You know, little things in the background brewing. I was like, okay, so what's next? 2021. What do we do? And he said there's this site called the Clink Room, and you can submit. It's what's called rolling submissions. So it's a contest that continues to keep going, and you can submit mascot designs on hats. Uh, you know, and if they pick it, and if it makes it past the picking stage and past the voting stage, you know, your hat goes up for sale, and it's really cool. I was like, oh, that's cool. I'd always I'd never focused on mascots, and I'd always felt that I could do it. So I was like, okay, this will be a thing, and I'll do one a week. One a week turned into like three a week sometimes, depending on how whatever into it I was in. And I sat down with a bunch of old sketchbooks and like tore pages out and was like, okay, so this is half an idea. This is half an idea. Let's, you know, re-explore. So I was recycling old things and whatever. And in February, I get picked. They pick my hat. It goes up for sale. And one of the sites that covers that site, these guys that do sort of a weekly wrap up show on fitted hats, which is what these hats are. Um, they did it's a YouTube thing called Views from the Vault. So they covered it, and one of the guys was like, "Yeah, this is my favorite hat of the week." And moreover, it was his pick. It was one of his favorite hats of the week, period, not just from Clink Room, but just in general. And I was like, "Oh, that's cool." Again, 20 years have taught me, when somebody says they like your shit, go say hi. Like, make a point of making yourself known. And I was like, oh, thanks, you know, whatever. And being an eager kid in this new thing that I'd never really done before, was like, hey, if you guys ever want to collaborate, or if you have some weird idea that no one else will touch, let's talk, because I specialize in, like, oh, you don't think that can be a character? Let's figure that out, you know. And it, for me, it's not just putting eyes on something, or putting hands on something, or putting, you know, giving it a body. It's like finding a way through an idea to do something kind of fun, weird, and interesting. So we did a couple things, and we ended up doing a few hat projects here and there, and a few of the ideas that were hats were turned into pins. And um, when I got the first couple pins in my hands, I was like, oh, this is cool, man. This
That's
is cool. Like,
crazy. Y-
yeah,
20 years of design experience doing all sorts of stuff kind of, I don't want to say led to this opportunity, but it definitely gave you an opportunity, you know, when the pandemic hit, to explore other things, kind of hone in on your character design skill. You get into hats, and then from hats, you get into pins. That is
yeah.
that is an interesting journey, because I feel like hats, while they've literally probably have always been around and stuff like that, I feel like I'm seeing like a surge in hat makers and hat collecting being a thing, and people putting pins on hats, and that becoming like the new backpack, the new hot thing. But you've been into this for like a while now, so you've probably seen like all these trends and stuff like that.
There's a lot of trends. It's a lot of I can't remember the term, but it's something in a teacup, like a storm in a teacup, essentially stuff. Um, these guys, a lot of these guys that I've met through this community started because hat making kind of shut down. New Era, which is like the most popular, the fitted hat company, essentially went from if you have an account with them, you can make a hat and turn around is like a month, 2 months, to 8, 9, 10 a year, like 8, 9, 10 months to a year to wait to get a hat. Um, so a lot of these guys who were hat collectors who couldn't necessarily make their own hats, or if they had the opportunity, it was going to be a long haul. Waiting 30 to 60 days from a pin manufacturer doesn't take as long. So they celebrated their community by making very hat focused, very hat related pins, of sports related also. But all roads lead back to colorways that they liked and whatever that were hat based.
Hell yeah.
So it was interesting coming into that, not being a sports guy in any way, not being a hat collector in any way, but just a pop culture guy and somebody with the ability to be what I am, which is a very interested character designer.
For sure.
Like,
And I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just
no, no, no,
like
no.
your character designs are awesome. And so for anyone
Thank
who
you.
doesn't know, Manny, we found each other through the podcast. He became
Yeah.
a supporter on Buy Me a Coffee, and then got him into the Discord, and from there we've been talking pretty much almost every day. But from chatting in all the different channels, showing your work in progress, sharing your struggles, your challenges, dealing with getting the pins from FedEx at the post office or whatever, like I can tell that you have like your heart, your soul. There's passion behind what you do, and like you can see it too. Just to kind of touch upon what you just said, like you're not just putting arms and eyes on like inanimate objects. You're finding a way to bring them to life. You're giving them like literally your heart, a piece of your heart and your soul, to bring them to life. And I think that's awesome, and it's led to a lot of these opportunities to like connect with different people in different fandoms and communities, hat and pin people. But one story in particular comes to mind, and I think it's the hat behind you. There is a famous comedian, and I'll let you tell a story, but a famous comedian. This is like one of his favorite hats, apparently.
So this was like the third or fourth hat that I designed with uh, the group, the only hat group that I've actually collaborated with. These guys are called the Capologists, um, which are a pair of awesome guys who kind of welcomed me in, and we started working back when at the beginning of 2021, when like nobody knew my name, and I was very new to the whole thing. And I was just like, okay, so let's do stuff. And one of the things that I was listening to, one of the guys was like, yeah, food hats are lame. They try to do all this stuff, and they try to do, like, I've seen like some really bad just hamburgers and hot dogs and all this stuff. And I was like, challenge accepted. No one asked, but I can do this. So I came up with this guy.
Hell
So
yeah! For
it's
anyone
a,
listen, oh yeah, go ahead,
yeah, I mean,
describe
well,
it.
it's a video podcast, but for the listeners, yeah, it's an angry bowl of ramen. We called it ramen,
I
and
love I love the eggs, the duck
yeah,
eggs, kind of being like the evil eyes.
yeah, the duck eggs. That's the pin. Let's see if I can dim the lights a little bit so you can actually
There
see
you
it.
go.
But yeah, this was the first time. So I wrote. So my buddy was taking all the hat designs and turning them into pins to sell together, because, like I was saying, it's faster turnaround and all that stuff. And I was like, hey, do you need me to like dumb this down or like take out some lines or whatever? He's like, you're good. you're good. Pins take the detail really well. I was like, okay, sure. And I got this thing in hand, and I was like, oh, this is awesome. This is like my favorite thing ever. And I told the guy, I was like, I want mine because out of the part of the sort of collab deal that I have with the guy is that they send me my hat on top of, whatever profit share I get. But I said I'm going to buy one too, and send it to this comedian, Bert Kreischer, who's one of my favorite comedians and who's known for fitted hats. And he says
You
all the
said that so
time.
casually. I'm just gonna send it to this comedian, Bert Kreischer. No big deal. He's in my phone.
So here's what's up. I am old. I have been around long enough, and I know one thing. If you do not say out loud what you want, you have no right to be mad when it doesn't happen. I could sit and hope that he would find my hat, or he would find my stuff, or somebody would something. Why? He gets fan mail. His address is out there somewhere. I know he wears these things. I'll send it to him. What could happen? What's the worst that could happen? The worst that could happen is nothing. He's not going to write you and
I love it.
He's not going to write you and say, I hate you for sending me this garbage. Like he's either going to wear it or he's not. And in the 9-10 months that it took to get the hat, I noticed that he doesn't repeat a whole hell of a lot. And I was like, okay, so he'll wear it a couple times, and that'll be that. So he gets it, and I ship it to him. I see that it's been delivered. I hear nothing because he's everywhere. And, by the time I sent it to him, he was, in the middle of planning a giant tour. And I don't see much of anything. And I've learned to sort of put it out of my head. Like, you do something, you put it out in the world. When you hear the explosion, something happened. But until that point, forget about it, because if you sit there and let it think, your brain is just going to cycle through and bad things happen. So I let it sit, and then I see my hat. I was like, oh, that's cool. I was wearing it. That's neat. I check some stuff. Oh, he's following me now. Oh, that's cool. He had done a live wearing it, and he was wearing an FSU sweatshirt, which completely inadvertently the hat goes really well with, because it's that same sort of maroon color, and there's lots of gold in there and whatever. So everybody's like, hey, where's the hat from? What's that hat thing? And legitimately in the comments, there was 6 or 7 comments. Hey, where's the hat? Where can I get that hat? What's that hat? Is that a team? Is that whatever? And I was like, fuck it. This might only happen once, because Lord knows if he's going to wear it again. So I answered everybody.
Heck yeah.
I was like, thank you. I designed the hat, and I did it partnering with the Capologists, and this is the site, and they're not available, but I'm glad you guys love the hat. And I answered everybody. And I am a filthy shill, but I am also a proud shill.
Yeah, you got to put yourself out there just like that. Like, be proud of that accomplishment, because that wasn't a guarantee that was going to happen. So when that happens, ride that wave, man. You earned it.
Yeah. And I figured it would happen once, and I was like, cool, it happened. Go on with my life. And then the hat continues to make an appearance, and he's currently on tour doing this crazy show that he performs in minor league baseball stadiums. So for that, he wears the team merch, and for that, he wears whatever. But every once in a while, the hat would pop up again, and I was like, oh, it's like the 5th time he wears it. I'm trying to restrain myself, sir. He's literally one of my favorite people, and he's wearing my hat, and I want to freak out, but I don't want to make a big deal and tag him and everything. So I restrain myself and everything, but I do, again, filthy shill, go through when he does a live and check the chat to see if anybody asked about the hat, because at the end of the day, it's a little bit of business.
Absolutely.
It's just business. It's just business. But long story short, my hat's seen more of Europe than I ever have. Like he's he's all over Rome. Like there's a great picture of him under the David's balls wearing my hat. Like it's crazy. It's fun.
I'll
You
definitely
know.
have to throw some pictures either on the podcast or up on the Pin Pals feed. But yeah,
Yeah.
if you head to Manny's Instagram and you scroll down a couple rows, you'll be able to see like a collage of Bert Kreischer wearing his hat, and uh,
Yeah.
and that is so cool. That'd be like for me, Kevin Eastman rocking like one of my pins on like a jean jacket or something like that. Like
Oh,
such a surreal.
100%, dude. 100%. It's. But again, it's not even dream big. It's not dream big. Like dream big is cute. There's too many things and too many channels and too many things going on. If you don't say it and you don't spend 5 or 10 minutes online finding somebody's address that you can send them stuff to or whatever, it doesn't happen because you didn't do it.
Yep.
Like that's all there is to it.
I'm gonna have to clip that out
Yeah.
and make that like a clip to help promote like the podcast, or because it's so true. And a lot of
Yeah.
people are just sitting there being like, "How come this isn't like this?" Or "How come I'm not famous?" Or "I didn't go viral." It's like you're not putting in the time. And unfortunately, the stuff that we do, it takes a lot of time and it takes energy and it takes dedication in order to get this
Yeah.
stuff done. And you can't have any expectations because if you do, then it's just gonna kill everything when you're not going viral the next day when you spent all night working on some like artwork or something like that. Little by it's a process, little by little, eventually
Yeah.
they'll come. I'm sure it's only a matter of time before there's a certain line of Burt Kreischer enamel pins and hats designed exclusively by Manny. We're saying
Um,
it. This is an
we're saying it.
exclusive.
We're putting it out there. Um, my the thing I'm working on right now is a bunch of little graphics that I'm making. Normally, I work in a package sort of thing where I'll create for a brand. Um, I'll create a character and do like 2 or 3 poses and then like some isolated heads and some stuff like that so that the brand is what I call alive. I don't love seeing walking into a place and then the same sort of hi, whatever mascot thing is on everybody's shirt and the same thing is on everybody's door and the same and or on the business the door of the business and then the same thing is on the cars. That looks really stale to me. So I try to create sort of a package for them. I'm sort of jumping the gun and I'm gonna do a couple of pieces. Um, Bert does a show called Two Bears, and I had done a sort of Cannonball Run inspired thing of with two bear characters for that. But I'm gonna do another 2 pieces for that and a couple of pieces here and there, and tag the hell out of everybody involved. The Bert uh, Bert and Tom Segura, who's the other comedian on Two Bears, and just a bunch of the comedian podcasts that I listen to, essentially, and create a bunch of stuff and say, if you guys dig it, reach out. Like, let's make some stuff. Let's make some stuff. And that's the next sort of goal
That would
for that. And yeah,
that would be cool. Side note, have you heard of the podcast Kill Tony?
I've heard of it. I've never listened to it.
Oh man, not that we're affiliated by it, but I just got hooked on it, and I've seen Burt Kreischer on a couple episodes. They basically
Yeah.
just take a live audience and they let them do stand up for 60 uninterrupted seconds, and a lot of times it goes terribly, like terribly wrong, and then they get roasted and stuff like that. But big fan of comedy
Right.
over at the Pin Pals
Right
HQ.
now, one of my favorites is Are You Garbage, which is literally these comedians and their whole thing is, I mean, they're interviewing you and they're talking to you, and it's mostly organic, but they're also asking very specific questions about things that you might have done in your childhood and things that you did growing up. And by the end of it, they make that decision. Are you garbage? Like, did you, when you ate hot dogs, did you eat them on white bread? Tell the truth. Things like that. And that's been awesome. So I'm going to do something for them. And I listen to podcasts every day, to try and sort of keep my brain active while I'm at work.
Yeah.
And so there's kind of an endless supply of shows that I've got running around,
I love it.
that I want to do little pieces for. Because I'd love to work with any of them, to be honest with you. Like I like making stuff for people. I like it. It makes me feel, feeling useful is really important to me for some reason. And by that, like, not just, oh, I love your stuff, thank you for making your thing. No, here is something that you can use because I love what you made, and here is something I made for you because you make what you make and I like what you make. This might help you. So I used to do like logos for my friends because I wanted them to look good and stuff like that. And yeah, there's like a lifetime of sort of stuff like that. So I want to keep it going in the same sort of vein.
It's such a wholesome thought, my friend. That's like you take a penny, leave a penny kind of situation. Scratch my back, scratch your back, which is
I've never
awesome.
thought about it. I've never thought about it like that, but take a penny, leave a penny is kind of the way it rolls. Like, I used to like a buddy of mine who runs a convention down here in Florida, in West Palm. He called it PalmCon and he ran it for a year, and it was really nice and really family friendly. And I was like, you need something next. So I made this palm tree that each leaf was sort of like a superhero themed, like I incorporated the symbols and then, kind of themed it out. So each palm frond was a different thing, and then used the that as the L for palm, for the word palm. And 10 years later, he's still using it. And the
Awesome.
show has grown a lot, and we're still super friends and whatever. But I love that it meant something to him, and he still loves the thing. And it's seeing it all over the place when he's running the show is just a kick. But yeah, that's my absolute favorite thing
I
to
love it.
do.
I think we've delayed the unboxing too long. Let's get into this.
Go for
Um,
it, man. Go for it.
so, like I said, I pre-opened this up and it looks pretty stocked up with some fun stuff. We'll do
Yeah,
the
I gave you pin salad. Um, Lots of I always include lots of extra stickers. So I don't do, yeah, that's the
yes.
thank you card. That's
This
a
is what
thank
I
you
was,
card.
and I'm a big turtle fan. You got me a little slash action in there.
Yeah, little classic,
That is
little
sick.
classic.
Oh
Yeah,
man, that is
thank you.
cool. Thank you, Manny.
Thank you, brother.
Looks dope. I gotta put that on like my turtle shelf.
Nice.
Woo! I think my dog just farted. Woo! Boy, I hate when he sneaks in those farts. All right. Um, lots of pins here, so I'm just gonna hold one up and have you describe it.
Sure.
Um, oh, first one. Damn, and these look cool too.
Thank you. So that's the new Halloween hotness. So last last year, um, I did a candy bucket, so you can see it more clearly in this
Yep.
one. This is the classic. Uh, and then because I love the idea of molds and getting the most out of the molds, to me, that's not making 1,000 pins because I'm never going to sell 1,000 of one pin, but I can take that mold and then break it up and do something stupid like turn the candy bucket into Skeletor, and then what you're holding is I had to do a reorder for a customer, that saw that and wanted more pins than I had. So I had to go to I'm working with a different manufacturer right now, and I said, you know what, that customer wanted this this blackout version of the candy bucket, so you can't really see the details. So I can change the mold because it's got to be a new mold anyway. I've got to change it up a little bit. So I added that shape around the mouth, and I added the lines going through the eyes, and I said, it.
Yep.
And then I was like, you know what else? If I do it,
So cool.
if I do it with rainbow metal, I get the crow.
That's cool too.
So I've been following like art toys and vinyl toys a lot. I don't have a ton of space, so I've not been a collector, but I follow things in a very sort of academic sense, like what are people doing, and what are people doing, what how are people approaching these things, and in art toys, as in pins, they reuse their molds a lot by just coming out with a different colorway or a different thing, and more than just a different color or a different whatever, or this is going to go with this. I want something that's gonna tell a story. So that one was another one. The eyes on that one glow in the dark, actually. So
Ooh.
I call this my Saturday morning special, and that's how we spent Saturday mornings as kids, like dropped in front of the TV, chomping on cereal. Yeah, the eyes and mouth on that one glow too, so that one's kind of fun with the little spiral eyes.
That one's cool. And I got to ask, so the first one that I held up, the It Halloween bucket. This
Uh-huh.
is it might be kind of hard to see on video, but I think you said that this is a soft enamel with an epoxy layer over it,
Yes.
which is
Yeah,
which is nice and not the same finish as a hard enamel.
exactly.
So
I'm a
it's
soft enamel guy.
yeah. Explain your reason behind going for the soft enamel epoxy as opposed to hard enamel, because I'm sure other folks are interested in your thought process behind it.
Okay, so I am a soft enamel from the get-go. Um, I remember getting some hard enamel pins from the guy that I was collaborating with, and I liked them, but I felt that they kind of lacked a little character somehow. I'm not in love with the same smooth finish, so I kept doing soft enamel stuff. But then taking pictures of soft enamel was really hard. I don't find that they looked as nice. And then somebody said epoxy, and he said, I was like, what the hell? What are you talking about? It's like, ask for it next time, it'll change your life. And it did. Now I haven't taken the next step to that, which I got stuff from one artist who did hard enamel or soft enamel with epoxy cover, and then screen printed on that, because he did a Jason mask that blew my mind, because he screen printed like dirt in the same color, at like distress, essentially, on top of the pin. He screen printed that like distress thing, but the pin glows, the enamel glows.
So it's
So
coming
there
through
is
that.
so it's not it's wherever there isn't screen printing, there is screen printed distress, there is glow underneath all that, but the distress is actually the same color as the mat as what glows in the dark. So essentially, when this thing glows, you see distress that you don't see otherwise.
Whoa.
Exactly. Exactly.
That is
That's
innovating.
tight.
That is cool.
So that brings me to kind of like my pin buying philosophy. On the most basic level, I have to love it. I collect almost exclusively character stuff. I have to love it, or it has to have some sort of deep meaning to me. I like stuff that has a very heavy sort of character bend to it. I love to see people's styles. I don't like sort of clip art stuff. That bothers me. That makes me itch. Like your stuff has this sort of homebrew, like sketchiness in the notebook feel to it that I love. And that's why I bought a bunch of your stuff. What I collect has a sort of heavy character bend to it. Or on the other side of it, if I see something innovative, if somebody's doing something different with the form factor, or they're doing something really cool with oh, it's got a hinge on it, or it's got a slide on it, or it's got a chain on it, or something I haven't seen,
Hmm.
essentially, I buy it. I buy
Yeah,
it because
you.
I collect the knowledge,
Yeah,
essentially.
and it's cool to just have those interesting pieces. I believe
Yeah.
it was Steez McGee's in his episode where he talked about going to eBay and just buying like random big pins and stuff like that. Like I think he showed me like an 8-inch pin or something like that. Like it was a monster thing. And I think he showed me some other odds and end things that as it relates to like obscure Disney pins or something like that. Um, which is pretty interesting. But again, just kind of cool, kind of different pieces to have in the collection. But
Yeah.
I like how you kind of have like this little checklist, if you will.
I do. I do. I have to. I have to. Like
You're
it's
gonna
it
buy
like
everything if you don't, right?
um I don't have as much wall space as I had a year ago. Um my wife was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna have to buy you another pin board." Like I used to keep a pin board that had a bunch of sketches to be recycled on one side and the pins on the other. And currently, the sketches are all shoved into one corner. So I'm going to get a mini pin board to put the sketches on because I have to be able to reach them so that essentially what I do for ideas and idea generation is if I have nothing in my brain at that moment, and there's nothing in the notebook for the next thing that I have to do for myself, I grab something off the pin board to recycle one of my old sketches. So I have those up there because object permanence. I don't know if you've ever heard that term, but that's a real thing for people with like dyslexia and ADHD and a bunch of stuff. Um, Saying, oh, or having this thing written that says, werewolf astronaut in the corner of a page isn't as good as this sketch that I did 3 years ago of this werewolf astronaut. You should get to this at some point because this will be a thing. This will definitely be something cool for a shirt or a pin or whatever. So I keep that there, but I also keep a mini pin board that has my pins and anything that I've designed for pins on it on all together. And then I've got the collection, the massive, unwieldy, crazy collection of weirdness that I've put together over like the last like 2 years. Um, and yeah, I've got to get another pinboard now.
There's so many different ways. I don't know how many times I've rearranged pin boards, take them off like those banners, those like cloth banners and stuff like that.
Oh
But
yeah, and you were showing on the Discord. You were showing that
yeah,
jean jacket one.
so earlier the year I was
I
in Buffalo,
I
Oxford
love that.
Pennant. They're the company that makes these awesome wool pennants. I had no idea that they were HQ'd there, so I was walking the downtown area, bam, ran into their like store, and I saw that with the jean jacket and everything. I'm like, this is perfect for pins. I need to get it. And I've had it since like maybe March or April or something like that, and I just
Yeah.
couldn't commit to what to put on there because I didn't want to, keep poking pins through it and then losing the integrity of the wool material and stuff like that. So I figured it'd just be like my travel pins
Well,
location.
that was made for that though. If you look close at the thing, it says the company that designed it, because I've listened to a podcast with them. It's two like lifelong friends that started this company. I can't remember their name to save my life, but it's on that pennant.
Oh yeah, you're
And
right. That was a collab.
yeah,
Oh, let me
yeah.
see if I can find it.
But my one of the reasons I was actually tossing an old pair of jeans, and I saved the leg. So every once in a while when I'm posting pictures, I'll use this as the fabric background to kind of have people recall the jean jacket thing. And at some point I need to get like a kid's size jean jacket just so that I have something, so that I have the pocket there that I can use as a sort of a thing. um
Pretty useful
but
pretty useful
yes,
company. That's who Oxford Pennant
yes,
collabed with to make what is called the Pin
yeah,
Keepers denim jacket camp flag, which which is
yeah,
pretty cool.
they've got a bunch of awesome sort of stuff, and I love that idea. They've also got one um, that's for like earrings. I think they did a similar thing with earrings, but it's I want to say it's a giant ear. I can't remember what it is though. Something like that. But they did another one like that. That's that. But yeah,
It's cool. I love seeing just things like that, just fun collabs, useful. I love branching outside of pins and like getting into like pin accessories and stuff like that. Like with the banner, getting creative with that. With like my turtle head displays, the 3D prints, just trying to like branch out and beyond the hey slash love
yeah,
it.
yeah. I love the color on this. Actually, like that turquoise is gorgeous,
Yeah,
and the black bandana. I think it slaps, dude.
I appreciate
It
that.
slaps. Yeah.
I love it.
But yeah, I love this concept. I freaking love this concept because it does bring it full circle. It's a toy. It's having a toy,
Yeah.
and it's not gigantic and it's not unwieldy, and it's perfect because that's what, for the generation, and I think to some extent the sort of bigger audience that people like us are designing pins for. They're toys.
Hmm.
They're toys, and it doesn't necessarily, it's not always a figure, it's not always a cartoon, but a lot of us are doing cars and characters, whether they're cartoons or live action or something, or cute things or whatever. They're not corporate logos, they're not anything else, they're toys.
Yeah.
They're a memory of a thing, um, or a trigger for a memory or whatever. And that's kind of great. Like, I want somebody to buy the TV pin that I sent you and be like, because Saturdays, dude, I still will not watch Marvel TV content until Saturday morning. I don't care if it comes out Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Marvel content, any of the stuff on Disney Plus, show wise. In fact, a lot of the weekly drop shows that were coming out from a lot of the streaming shows, I saved all of it for Saturday. I said, I don't care when it comes out Saturday morning. Like, I may not do the bowl of cereal anymore, I may not do anything else, but I can get up Saturday. I watched my She-Hulk this morning. When Miss Marvel was coming out regular, I watched that every morning and like cried like a bitch, to be honest with you. Like, cried a lot during that show. Cried a lot during that show. Really love that show. But Yeah, dude, I keep the tradition alive. It's something. Why watch it on Thursday and then you're the weekend and you're like, I
Yeah.
guess nothing. I
Yeah,
guess
something
whatever.
fun. There's something magical about that Saturday morning, and you
Yeah,
captured it
dude.
with the pin. We captured it through like the things that we still indulge in and stuff like that. So that's cool that you keep that alive. I read some comics this morning, and it felt good to just be like, I got nothing to do, can wake up, just read a couple comics, and just really start the day off the best way possible, the way that I guess we used to way back when.
Dude, I love that concept. Like I haven't cracked a book in a while because I can't really get away from a screen long enough. The most I'll do at this point is an audio book. But yeah, I've got tons of things around me to read, and I just haven't taken the time.
There's
That of it kind of sucks.
there's a lot of content coming at us now. Like
Yeah,
it definitely was not like this way back when. Um, but I got a couple more questions for you before we start wrapping things up. Um,
sure.
let's say someone comes up to you and they're like, "Manny, I love your pins. I have a couple ideas. How should I get started with making pins? What's some advice maybe that you would give someone?"
If you can draw on your own, try to draw out your ideas and really think about what you're doing. Um, if you can help it, don't like Google what you want, download it, and like slap what something extra on top of it. Like really give it some thought, really give it some care, um, and ask somebody who's already doing it about manufacturing and whatever. Uh, if you're starting out, especially, there are. I feel like the uh, the artist to manufacturer pipeline I don't think has ever been better, and I I love a middleman because it makes it easier, but it's not as necessary anymore. There's enough people out there that will tell you who they manufacture with and who are smart enough to say it might be too much for you to send. Like if it's too much, if the manufacturer, if you work with a manufacturer who would laugh at them for sending a photo of a napkin or something, then don't do that. But there's enough manufacturers out there that you can contact them directly and whatever, and just get started, give it a shot. But it's like it's like a casino. Don't go in there with money that you can't afford to lose.
Yeah.
This isn't a get rich quick scheme. This isn't Don't spend your rent money because you think you can triple it, because that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. Like you it's bricks in a wall, man. Like you do it and put it down, you put the thing on there and you slap the next one on there and hope you build something out of it.
Hmm.
But it's not it's not an ATM. Like I've got this idea for a pin and it's going to change our lives. Too old to think that that is a thing that's going to happen. You
Good
know?
advice. Good sound advice.
Yeah.
Um, I'm also curious when it comes to like your designs and doing a lot of like original characters. What are some like important things to keep in mind when designing these characters and turning them into pins? Like you keeping in mind the line thickness, like the aesthetics part of it, or are you just kind of more focused on creating a character that people are gonna like? I'm just kind of curious a little bit more of your thought process on that.
So what I do a lot of is think about big shapes. So when I'm designing, and actually let me grab the sticker because you can see it better on camera. So this guy, he
Mm-hmm.
is a little Weber grill. Um, for anything, I do think about the line weight. I work very thick lines anyway. I work with a lot of thick lines and a lot of like black fill and stuff anyway. but you also want to think about big shapes, because at the end of the day, you've got to put a pin back on there. And if you do the Pink Panther or whatever, that's like very, very thin all the way around, where do you put the needle? Um, if you design it and you do the Superman pose, right, with the arms sticking out, those little empty triangles are going to cost you money.
Yep.
But if you design it so that it's just a hole, essentially, I'm trying to get it so you can see that, so that it's just a hole, like the space between his feet,
Mm-hmm.
that's something that's not going to cost you more money in the mold. But if you have a bunch of empty spaces, if you have the triangle, or if I do a pin with somebody listening to headphones and they have to knock that space out, that's more annoying for them and more money out of your pocket, manufacturing wise for you.
Smart.
Things like that. Think bold. A trick that I told somebody who was just starting out was print it out real size.
Oh.
If your pin is going to be 1.5 inches, print it out. If you've got a crap ton of detail in there that no one's ever going to see, it can't be there. it just can't be there. It's never going to make a lick of sense. So I just did these dinosaurs, right?
Hell yeah, I love these.
I made sure that the tail and the head were separated, that space was open. And if you'll notice, there's like shading and all kinds of stuff. Like in his purple shirt, there's some shadows and some other stuff. None of that is in the pin. The pin is very clean, very simple, because the pin is only 1 inch. I do 1.3 inches on my designs generally. So none of that shading is in the pin because it is tiny. And you want big spaces for them to be able to fill with the enamel. It makes their life easier, and it makes the finished product look nicer.
Absolutely.
I also tell people to experiment and see what they like. I like glow in the dark stuff, but make it make sense. So this guy is surfing, and I don't know if you can see it, but there's glitter in the water.
Oh yeah, now I see it.
Yeah, it can't focus a hell of a lot, but yeah, when you
No,
move
I
it back
see it
and
a little
forth,
bit. Yeah.
yeah. So, when I did the sticker, I did the same thing. But the idea is, if he's surfing, you want it to feel like the ocean. You want to give it that sort of glitter thing,
Movement.
and make it stand out. And I haven't gone all fancy. I've designed a couple of 2-part pins for other people, but I haven't done one for myself. Like I said, I've seen people do screen printing stuff. I keep my pins mostly simple. And my goal is always to sort of spark a memory.
Mm-hmm.
I do a lot of original characters, but like I showed you with the TVs and things, the goal is to spark a memory, and sometimes that's a colorway, and sometimes, like, my little guy that's on the thank you notes, I did him as a pin, but instead of just the standard colorway, I did this one, and he is you see it better in the sticker. He's Buzz Lightyear colors, because he's also a little astronaut. But I did it with the purple and the green and whatever, and I was playing around with the colorways, and I was like, you know what else? My Pet Monster.
I love it.
So I don't do a lot with IP stuff. Like, I've got some, and you've seen them. I've got a little Ninja Turtle flavor literally come into play in the next drop. and I've got a little Slimer Ghostbuster thing coming out. But I don't do a lot with just the characters. I always try to find sort of the space in there that I haven't seen a bunch of people do. Um, you know, because I want to spark that memory in it, but I want to stand out a little bit more. That's my goal, and nobody asked me to, and it's a little bit harder, but I'm sure a bunch of people would rather just buy a Voltron pin or buy the thing itself, but I want to try to bring a little bit of myself to it, which is just a little bit more, a little bit different, a little bit weirder, a little bit, off the beaten path, I guess.
Yeah, but I'd say you're doing a good job of making a name for yourself and really solidifying your art and your style to to you and what you do. Like the branding of Manny Cartoon Studios is like coming together, and the more that I've gotten to know you, the more I see it, and it's very just cohesive even when it comes down to like your social media stuff. Like I could just tell like this is something designed by Manny. Um, and that's like ultimately what you want, and you just now the next step's probably just to grow your fan base and to get the sales and community and stuff like that. But I'd say you're very much well on your way, and you've definitely
Thank
made a
you.
lot of noise since getting into the pin game and since like the first couple hats. So like we were talking before, it's a journey, and we got to remember
Yeah.
to enjoy the journey. um,
Yeah. No one project, no one thing will ever change your life.
yeah.
It doesn't happen that way. It doesn't happen that way. If you're smart, you take the good things that rain down upon you and you're like, okay, take that as a step and you can climb up a little step. But it's not like from one day to the next, you're not doing stuff for everybody. You're not doing, it's in your life. This is to the artists out there listening to this. In your life, so many people will come to you and say, I want to hire you to do a thing. I have a billion projects in the works. It'll be awesome. I'll pay you whatever you want. It'll be great and it'll change your life. Say, okay, great. Two thumbs up. Let's work on the thing. Let's work on one thing. We'll get that done. I'll hand that to you. You hand me money and we'll move on to the next thing. Do not hold your breath. Do not expect the world, but enjoy the thing that you're doing. But if you sit there and you believe everybody that comes by and hands you candy, things will be rough for you.
Yo, spitting out them facts. I love it.
Yeah, dude.
Manny, last question. I love wrapping the podcast with this question. I feel like it ties a bow on the person that I'm interviewing. But Manny, what are the little things in life for you?
Um, Inspiring young artists. I love it. I was a teacher, a cartooning teacher for a while, and that was one of my favorite things, getting to teach kids that wanted to learn and giving them the class that I would have killed people to have when I was their age. Um, yeah, I love that. I do talks at schools, and I'm still in contact with my old students and stuff and trying to get them into college now and whatever. That that's the world, and even when I do like lives on Instagram and they're like, and I'll be drawing live or whatever, somebody's like, oh man, I brought my kid over to watch you draw and all this stuff. I love that. I lose my mind for that. I love that. It's my favorite thing.
Hell yeah. I love that too, man. That's so good of you. Passing down kind of what you've learned. It's like passing of the torch, so to speak.
Yeah,
So that's great. And that's like one of the best things that we can do is just kind of empower the youth. 'Cause they're the future.
for sure.
Hell yeah. I love it. Manny, this hour flew by. I'm pretty sure that we could do this for a couple more hours, But yeah.
we have people need to join the Discord and join us for the happy hours you do every like once a month, man.
Yeah,
Those things are awesome.
each happy hour we've done probably could have been like its own episode with the amount of like detail and topics that we cover. It's good
It's
stuff.
awesome.
It's good fun. Well, I
Absolutely.
appreciate you being part of those happy hours, being in the Discord, being a supporter, being a listener, but more importantly, just being a genuine artist. Kind of cares about the craft, cares about the community. He's been in it, you know. Um, so just what you bring to the table to the Pen Pals community, to anyone listening, I appreciate you, appreciate your expertise, and thank you for stopping by and having this publicly recorded chit chat.
Thanks for having me, dude, and thanks for starting this little community. You know, it's great to have somebody that is facing the same sort of like little things that we all face, the same annoying like manufacturing stuff, and how the hell do we get a tablecloth printed, and why do we need a tablecloth printed, and what's going on with what, and it did I miss Chinese New Year again? What the hell happened? Like why are my pins late? Because it is the small stuff that no one else is going to care about.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
it's just us, man. It's
Re-
just us.
really, I built the community so we can all just validate each other.
Absolutely, absolutely. I love it. I love it.
Manny, let me give you the floor. If you have any shout outs or thank yous that you want to give, go ahead and do that. Kind of let the people know where they can find you, what you have upcoming, and yeah, take it away.
So Manny Cartoon Studio on Instagram. That's the active one, and it's mannycartoon.studio is the shop. New stuff basically once a month, two pins at least once a month, and adding like shirts and all that stuff. If you're a business and you want to talk about creating a mascot for your business, um, let's talk. Hit me up on Instagram on the DMs is the easiest way, and let's make something cool for your food related business or your whatever. And if you're a young artist and you want to talk about that, again, let's talk. I'm here to help.
That was all directed at Bert Kreischer, who is a big time listener of the Pin Pals podcast. So get on that, Bert.
Call me Bert.
I love it. Oh,
Yeah,
and you have a
buddy.
discount code too.
Oh yeah, the discount code is PinPals80. PinPals80 will be live for the uh when the episode drops.
Yeah,
So yeah,
I'll have it linked in the description below. You can go to Manny's shop, and the discount code will be repeated there for anyone interested.
awesome.
But Manny, once again, I appreciate your time, and your expertise. Thanks for hopping on. Thanks for carving time out of your precious Saturday mornings to swing by the Pin Pals and have a chat.
Yeah, dude,
We'll talk very soon.
for sure.
All right, man. Enjoy the rest of your
Thanks, bro.
weekend. Take it easy.
Thanks, man. Bye.